When you thought 2025 couldn't get any wilder, Atlanta said, "Hold my mic." Because, y'all, T.I., the self-proclaimed king of the South, just completely lost it after his son King Harris got sentenced to prison. And this ain't no PR stunt or music video scene. This is raw, unfiltered heartbreak that's got the whole internet gasping louder than Nicki and Cardi in the same dressing room. This isn't drama anymore. This is a full-blown hip-hop soap opera gone nuclear. Fans are saying this is the most emotional meltdown since Will Smith's Oscar slap. Cameras caught T.I. pacing, shouting, and breaking down like a man watching his empire crumble in real time. And honestly, the irony is colder than Atlanta ice. The man who once rapped about dodging the system just watched his own son get swallowed by it. It's tragic, it's messy, and it's going viral faster than a Kanye rant. Social media detectives are already dissecting every second of that courtroom footage. Was T.I. angry at the system, or was he finally snapping at the son who refused to listen? King Harris, the kid who bragged about being real and street, just got a taste of the very life he glorified. And fans? They're torn between sympathy and "we told you so." But trust me, this story goes way deeper than one viral breakdown. Behind the tears, behind the temper, behind the cameras, there's betrayal, regret, and a whole family falling apart under the spotlight. Because when hip-hop royalty starts crumbling, the internet doesn't look away. It reloads the video. Welcome to the scandal that's got Atlanta whispering, the industry watching, and fans completely devastated. This is Gossip Sphere. And baby, the tea just spilled hotter than ever. It all started like one of those moments you swear can't be real. The kind of clip you scroll past thinking, nah, that's edited. But no, this was 100% real. T.I., the man who built a whole brand off discipline, hustle, and street survival, was standing in a courtroom looking like his entire world had just collapsed. And right there beside him, King Harris, his baby boy turned wannabe gangster, was getting sentenced while the cameras flashed like it was the BET Awards for tragedy. The internet erupted the second the footage hit. 1 second, King was walking in like he owned the room. The next, his entire "I'm built for this" energy crumbled. Gone was the cocky smirk. Gone was the tough talk. What replaced it? Tears. Real ones. The same kid who'd been flexing on Instagram about living that life was suddenly face to face with the consequences of pretending to be something he wasn't. And T.I., he was done. Completely done. People in the courtroom said T.I. looked like a man trapped between rage and heartbreak. The same guy who once told the world to trap responsibly was now staring at his own son being led away in handcuffs. Witnesses said T.I. tried to keep it together, but when those cuffs clicked, he snapped. The voice that once filled stadiums with confidence cracked like glass. The man who spent decades building an image of control was losing it in front of everyone. And the internet? Oh, it ate it up like Sunday gossip at a barbershop. Within minutes, every gossip page, blog, and TikTok theorist was dissecting the scene. Some called it karma, others called it a wake-up call. But everyone agreed. This was the moment T.I.'s life took a turn that no amount of fame or money could fix. Because when your child becomes the headline, your empire becomes a punchline, and the internet has no mercy for legends who fall. Now, let's rewind, because this didn't just happen overnight. King Harris has been dancing on this edge for years, and fans have been watching it like a slow-motion car crash. Remember those IG lives where King bragged about not being raised like no celebrity kid? The same ones where he told people he was real from the block? Yeah, those aged like milk? Back then, people thought it was just teenage rebellion, another rapper's kid trying to prove something. But nah, King took it too far. From street altercations to messy social media battles, the boy's been wilding out like he was auditioning for a documentary titled How to Ruin a Legacy in 10 Easy Steps. And every time T.I. tried to intervene, King doubled down. He didn't want advice. He wanted validation. He wanted to prove that he wasn't just T.I.'s son, he was his own man, even if it meant losing everything. The breaking point came when King started beefing with other rappers online, talking reckless and threatening people like he wasn't living in a mansion with security cameras on every corner. And T.I., ever the protective dad, tried to defend him publicly, saying, he's young, he's learning. But behind closed doors, reports say it was chaos, the kind of arguments that shake the walls. T.I. wanted his son to focus on music, on legacy. King wanted fame, fast, loud, and messy. Then came the night that changed everything. According to insiders, King got caught up in something he couldn't talk his way out of. A street altercation that spiraled completely out of control. Word spread fast. Phones came out. People started filming. And just like that, King Harris went from Instagram Live to jailbooking photos faster than you could say clout chase gone wrong. When the news broke, the internet went into overdrive. Memes, reactions, podcasts, everyone had an opinion. Some said it was about time. Others blamed T.I. for not checking his son sooner. But when that courtroom video surfaced, showing T.I. breaking down, the entire conversation flipped. Suddenly it wasn't about King anymore. It was about a father's heartbreak. Because say what you want about T.I., the man has always shown up for his kids. From reality shows to interviews, he made it clear that family came first. So seeing him lose his composure like that, it hit fans differently. This wasn't celebrity drama anymore. This was a man watching his child slip through the cracks of a world he thought he had escaped. Even fans who had clowned King before started softening. Comments flooded social media saying, "You can tell T.I. tried." Others wrote, "This hurts to watch. No parent deserves this." And then there were the ones who pointed out the bigger issue, the generational curse. They said T.I. spent his whole career teaching street survival, but maybe he accidentally glorified it too much for his own son to handle. The streets don't love anybody, and King just learned that lesson the hardest way possible. And let's not forget Tiny, the matriarch of the family. She was spotted outside the courthouse, holding back tears, refusing to talk to reporters. People close to her said she was done with the cameras, tired of the spectacle. For her, this wasn't content. It was family falling apart in public. Meanwhile, celebrities started chiming in. Some offered support, others threw shade. One rapper tweeted, "All that talk about being real, now look." Another posted a cryptic message saying, "This generation gotta stop confusing clout with courage." And you know Twitter, or X, whatever Elon's calling it this week, turned the whole thing into a meme festival within hours. But underneath all the laughter, there was this weird sense of sadness. Like everyone realized this wasn't funny anymore. T.I.'s breakdown wasn't just emotional, it was symbolic. The end of an era where fame protected you from fallout. The reminder that no matter how many awards, endorsements, or hit records you've got, life will humble you in the most public way possible. And fans, they couldn't stop watching. Because this wasn't a scandal, it was a slow-motion heartbreak. From rap royalty to real-world tragedy, the Harris family was officially in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. The headlines weren't about T.I.'s music, his businesses, or his legacy anymore. It was about King Harris, the son who thought he could live the lyrics, and the father who had to watch the consequences unfold live for the world to see. And as the courtroom emptied, as cameras kept rolling, one thing was painfully clear. The king in King Harris was gone, and T.I., the man who built his empire on pride and power, walked out looking like a man who just lost the one battle he couldn't fight his way out of, the one against life itself. But trust me, this story was only getting started. Because what happened next, the public reactions, the celebrity chaos, and the online breakdowns turned this tragedy into a full-blown circus. The internet might have felt bad for a moment, but it didn't take long before things got ugly. The internet didn't even let the courtroom dust settle before the chaos kicked in. Within hours, hashtags like Namrat Free King Harris, Bow Pray for T.I., and the ever-toxic Not Parenting Fail were trending like wildfire. Twitter turned into a digital courtroom, and everyone, from fans to fake psychologists, had an opinion. One person tweeted, "T.I. raised King on hustle but forgot to teach humility." Another clapped back, "Don't act like y'all perfect parents either. This could happen to anybody." And boom, the debate turned into a full-blown culture war. TikTok, of course, took it to another level. Edits of King Harris crying were soundtracked to sad R&B songs, while others made darkly comedic clips using his old live rants where he'd said he was ready for the streets. The internet doesn't wait for healing. It monetizes pain. It was meme gold for some and heartbreak fuel for others. One user wrote, "This is like watching the Fresh Prince episode where Will's dad leaves, but remixed for Gen Z with trap music." And honestly, they weren't lying. T.I.'s fans tried to defend him, reminding everyone that this was a man who came from the trenches and built himself up into a rap icon and businessman. But critics weren't having it. And businessman. But critics weren't having it. They called him out for turning his family into reality TV content years ago, claiming he blurred the line between parenting and performance. Some even dragged up old clips from T.A. and Tiny, the family hustle, showing how King always seemed like the wild card, the one who didn't care about rules or appearances. The narrative shifted fast, from sympathy to blame. Meanwhile, celebrity circles started buzzing. Some of T.I.'s industry peers were texting, "Stay strong," privately, but a few couldn't resist throwing shade publicly. One rapper, who's had beef with T.I. for years, posted, "All that King of the South talk, now look who's crying in court." Fans instantly flooded the comments calling him heartless, but let's be real, that's the internet. Tragedy for one celebrity is clout for another. Then came the viral clip that broke the internet for real. The moment T.I. shouted in court, "I tried to save him." Cameras caught it. Audio leaked. And social media went into emotional overdrive. You could hear the pain in his voice, the disbelief, the guilt. Fans started quoting it everywhere, turning it into a symbol of every parent who ever lost control of their child's path. "I tried to save him" became a hashtag, a meme, a sound on TikTok, and a catchphrase all at once. People stitched it into videos of family arguments, old home footage, even motivational edits. The world couldn't get enough. But while the internet was debating, T.I. had gone ghost. No posts, no stories, no tweets, just silence. And you know what silence means in celebrity world? Chaos brewing behind the scenes. Rumors started flying faster than a gossip blog refresh. Some insiders claimed T.I. was furious with certain people around King, saying they enabled his behavior. Others said he blamed himself, locking himself in the studio, recording music that sounded dark, angry and personal. Tiny, meanwhile, was allegedly trying to keep the family from imploding completely. But insiders said she was done with the cameras, done with the fame. Then, boom, a leaked snippet hit the web. T.I. had recorded a verse that sounded like a confession, with lines like, "I built an empire but lost my heir," and "All this gold don't shine when your son's behind steel." Fans were stunned. They called it his rawest work in years, saying it made every word of "Live Your Life" sound haunting now. Within minutes, the snippet racked up millions of views. Even non-rap fans were tuned in, saying, "You can feel the pain in this man's voice." As if things couldn't get crazier, rumors started spreading that King wasn't handling prison well. A supposed insider claimed he'd been in altercations behind bars. Suddenly, fake mugshots, photoshopped prison selfies, and clickbait exclusive leaks started flooding social media. Everyone wanted a piece of the story, true or not. That's the curse of fame. The world doesn't wait for facts. It builds its own version of the truth. Meanwhile, other celebrities started using the situation as a mirror. Meek Mill tweeted, "We gotta guide these young kings better. Fame too early ruins discipline." Boosie went live saying, "That boy thought he was street till the streets called his bluff." The reactions were endless, some genuine, some opportunistic, but every single one kept King Harris trending. And the fans, they were split down the middle. Half were defending him, calling it a setup and saying he's still a kid learning life's lessons. The other half dragged him, saying he'd been begging for this energy since the day he went on live trying to act hard. One viral comment summed it up perfectly. King wanted to be a street legend. Now he's got the story, but at what cost? Even other celebrity kids got dragged into it. People started comparing King to other famous children who went off the rails, from Jaden Smith's rebellious phase to Justin Combs' public altercations. "Nepo babies ain't built for real-life pressure," one post said. "They want the image but not the struggle." And boom, the Nepo baby debate reignited overnight, with King Harris as its newest poster child. But through all the noise, one thing stood out: T.I.'s pain. Reporters who'd seen him after court said he looked completely broken, eyes puffy, no words left to give. For a man who's always been in control of every situation, business, music, image, this was the one moment he couldn't fix. And fans noticed. They started posting old interviews where T.I. talked about wanting to be a better father than he had growing up. Now, those same clips hit different. The contrast was painful. To make it worse, gossip pages started digging deeper into King's past. Every old clip, every argument, every flex, every live stream was now evidence in the court of public opinion. They posted videos of King talking back to his parents, and suddenly everyone had a theory. "This was years in the making," said one YouTuber. You can literally see the tension building. The speculation became endless. Even reality TV producers started circling like vultures. Some leaked reports claimed they wanted to turn this entire situation into a family redemption story. One network allegedly offered T.I. and Tiny millions to tell their truth in a docu-series. But sources said T.I. refused, saying he wouldn't turn his son's pain into entertainment. Ironically, that refusal only made fans respect him more. For once, he wasn't playing the fame game, and still, the internet kept talking. TikTok edits, fan theories, think pieces on the fall of Black celebrity families. It was endless. But under all that noise, a quiet realization was spreading. People weren't just laughing anymore, they were reflecting. Because in a weird way, King Harris had become a mirror for an entire generation raised on social media fame and keeping it real culture. Everyone wanted to look hard online until the consequences showed up offline. By week 2, free King Harris shirts were already popping up in Atlanta. Some fans were using his story as a message to young people. Don't play tough for likes. Others, though, said it was too late, that King had to face the reality he created. Either way, the story wasn't dying down. It had become bigger than King, bigger than T.I. It was about the cost of fame, the illusion of realness, and how the internet turns every tragedy into a trending topic. And as the chaos grew, one thing was clear: this wasn't the end, not even close. Because while fans were arguing online, something was shifting behind the scenes. Something that would make this story spiral even further. The Harris family was about to face the fallout of fame in ways they'd never imagined. By the time the dust started to settle, the world had already made up its mind. T.I. wasn't just a father grieving, he was a symbol of a bigger tragedy. Every podcast, every talk show, every reaction channel was dissecting the same question. How did one of hip-hop's smartest hustlers lose control of his own legacy? And if you listened close enough, the answer wasn't simple. It was buried under years of fame, ego, and family pressure that finally cracked under the spotlight. Behind closed doors, sources said the Harris household had gone silent. No cameras, no lights, no crew, just a family trying to hold it together while the world turned their pain into entertainment. Tiny was reportedly heartbroken, but trying to stay strong. Zonique, King's sister, was said to be furious at the internet's reaction, calling out people who were using her brother's downfall for clicks. But T.I.? He was different now. Quieter, heavier, like a man carrying something that words couldn't fix. The industry insiders who used to see T.I. smiling at parties said he stopped showing up altogether. The studio became his safe place. Not to make hits, but to process. Rumors spread that he was working on a project called Legacy Lost, a raw, emotional album about fatherhood, failure, and fame. Nobody knew if it was real, but one leaked lyric had fans crying. "I made a king, but I never gave him the crown's weight." Meanwhile, the internet had turned King Harris into a full-blown cautionary tale. His name became the go-to example for what happens when fame raises your kids. Every influencer, every fake motivational speaker had an opinion. You couldn't scroll 2 seconds without seeing some clip of T.I.'s breakdown followed by a lecture on modern parenting. Even schools started using the story as a discussion topic. Teachers were telling students, "See what happens when you let fame fool you?" It was everywhere, but behind all the judgment, a darker narrative was forming. Whispers that King wasn't doing well behind bars. Some claimed he'd been isolated for protection. Others said he was struggling mentally. A few so-called sources even claimed T.I. had been visiting regularly, trying to hold his son together. But no one could confirm anything. The Harris family wasn't talking. They'd closed the gates, shut out the noise, and focused on survival. Still, that didn't stop the circus. YouTubers, gossip channels, and hip-hop analysts were making daily uploads with titles like T.I.'s Breakdown Explained or The Real Reason King Harris Snapped. People were analyzing body language, facial expressions, and old interviews like it was a true crime case. And every time someone thought the story was fading, another clip, another rumor, another emotional soundbite would pull it right back into the spotlight. Then came the shocker, a leaked letter allegedly written by King from inside. It hit the blogs like dynamite. Whether it was real or fake didn't matter. People believed it. In the note, King supposedly wrote, "I ain't built for this. I thought I was, but I'm not. Tell my pops I'm sorry for trying to live his pain instead of learning from it." Within hours, the letter went viral. Fans cried. The letter went viral. Fans cried. Haters mocked. The media went insane. And T.I., he didn't deny it. He just posted one simple message on his story. Growth comes through pain. That one line broke the internet again. People called it powerful, humble, even redemptive. For the first time since the sentencing, the narrative shifted from shame to empathy. Suddenly, T.I. wasn't just the angry dad. He was the father still fighting for his son, still standing in the storm when everyone else wanted a headline. The fans rallied. Support poured in from everywhere. Celebrities started showing love again. Everyone wanted T.I. to win. But even with the sympathy, the scars ran deep. Brands quietly paused deals. Music opportunities slowed down. The Harris name had become too controversial for certain projects. It was the cruel irony of fame. When you're hot, everyone wants you. When you're hurting, they call it bad optics. And yet T.I. didn't seem to care anymore. The man who once obsessed over legacy now looked like he just wanted peace. Still, King's story wasn't over. Word came that he'd been attending counseling sessions in prison, writing music, and reportedly planning to start over once released. Some insiders said T.I. was pushing for him to release his first solo project from inside, a redemption track to show growth. Fans speculated it would be called Cuffed But Conscious. Whether true or not, it gave people hope that maybe, just maybe, the prince could rebuild his crown. Meanwhile, social media started to soften. The same people who mocked King months ago were now writing paragraphs about forgiveness and redemption. Influencers began comparing his story to other celebrity transformations. If Justin Bieber can come back, so can King Harris, one post read. It was as if the world had finally remembered that behind the drama was a real family trying to heal. Then came the biggest twist. A video surfaced showing T.I. visiting King in prison. No cameras, no filters, just raw footage of a father hugging his son through the glass, whispering something that made King break down in tears. Nobody knew what was said, but fans could feel it. It wasn't fame. It wasn't music. It was love. Real, broken, unconditional love. That clip hit millions of views in hours. The caption read, "When the king meets his crown again." It was the first time the internet didn't argue. They just felt. The moment humanized T.I. in a way no interview ever could. Even the coldest trolls backed off, admitting, damn, that hit different. And for a moment, social media stopped being cruel and started being quiet. Weeks later, T.I. finally broke his silence in an interview. No flexing, no jokes, just truth. He said, "As a father, you can build your kid a house, give him everything, but you can't live his lessons for him. Sometimes love hurts, but I'd rather my son fall and rise than never learn how to stand." That quote went viral, printed on t-shirts, turned into motivational reels, stitched into TikToks with sad piano music. For once, T.I. wasn't being judged. He was being understood. And maybe that's the real ending to this story. Not fame, not failure, but perspective. Because in the end, T.I. didn't lose his son. He lost control. And sometimes, that's what it takes to save what really matters. The fame, the fortune, the legacy. All of it means nothing when you're standing in that courtroom watching your own blood walk away in handcuffs. The cameras captured pain, but what they didn't capture was hope. The kind that builds quietly behind headlines and hashtags. Now, when fans see T.I. post about family, they look at it differently. The jokes stopped. The sympathy grew. And even though the road ahead is long, the message is clear. This isn't the end of the Harris dynasty. It's the rebirth. A brutal, public, heartbreaking rebirth. But one that proves real growth doesn't come from perfection. It comes from pain, lessons, and starting over. And if you think this story ends here, oh, you don't know the internet. Because one thing's for sure, the Harris family's next chapter will be even louder, messier, and more unpredictable than anyone expects. So buckle up. Because in a world where fame never sleeps, redemption might just be the next viral trend. And there you have it. The rise, the fall, and the emotional roller coaster that just made every family drama on reality TV look like a Disney special. If you made it this far, you've officially survived another episode in the chaotic universe that is Celebrity Parenting Atlanta Edition. But don't go anywhere, because this isn't the end. This is just the calm before the next viral earthquake. Let's be real, by next week, someone's gonna leak another exclusive. T.I. might drop a diss track, King might post something cryptic from prison, and the internet will lose its collective mind all over again. And when that happens, you know exactly where to be. Right here at Gossip Sphere, the home of chaos, clout, and celebrity catastrophes. So do yourself a favor. Smash that like button like it owes you money. Hit subscribe harder than T.I. Hit that reality check. And ring that notification bell before another scandal drops and you're the last to know. We don't just report the tea, we boil it, spill it, and serve it with extra sugar and zero apologies. Drop a comment below and tell us, do you think King Harris can bounce back? Or is this the final chapter of the Harris Empire? Because trust me, your opinion's about to end up in someone's reaction video tomorrow. And remember, in this world, fame fades. But drama lives forever. Stay locked in, stay messy, and stay sipping. Because here at Gossip Sphere, we turn celebrity pain into primetime entertainment, one scandal at a time. See you in the next meltdown, folks. Until then, keep your popcorn ready and your receipts closer. Gossip Sphere, where the truth takes a vacation and the tea never stops spilling.